No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Matt just slung that right in there.
Oh, we got 6 people on there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Stop bragging.
Stop bragging there, man.
Ready? Here we go.
No. Woohoo.
We're flying away with this. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 62. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we got nobody. We're doing a little flying solo. Huh.
Jamie's somebody.
How's that?
I tried, Jamie.
You tried.
I know. I appreciate it.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Not bad.
Settle down there, Cupcake. Settle down. We don't have to run right into it.
I can't settle down.
Take a breather. How you doing?
Woosah.
Okay, go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've come armed once again with my handy dandy notepad. So I'm going to start things off, and we'll get to you guys in a minute because I want to start asking what you guys have been up to this week in your workshop, because I'm going to put out a fun little open challenge to everybody. That's all the listeners and out there listening onto the webs and all their podcast players. So basically the story behind this was I came out to the shop the other day and I found an extremely punky and rotted piece of laburnum. And I decided is it a laburnum wood?
Oh.
And I decided I was going to put it on the lathe, and no matter what happened during the turning process, I was determined that whatever happened, I was going to get it finished. And it was a massive challenge. So rather than put that piece of wood in the trash or burn it or whatever, I was going to make something from it. And like I say, it took a quick minute, and there was no way that piece of wood is going to hold liquid to start off with. It's certainly not going to be any cereal bowl anytime soon, but I managed to save it, and I've got an art piece from it, at least. If that's what
Serial killer bowl.
If that's what you want to call it. So I managed to stabilize the rot and all that good stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to put a challenge out to everybody to take a piece of scrap out of their scrap bins and make something from it. It doesn't matter if it's wood, metal, fabric, plastic, whatever you want it to be. Post a picture of it on your Instagram and be sure to tag us. All the links to our Instagrams and social medias will be down in the description of wherever it is you are listening to, and use the hashtag CMP Scrap. Okay, so
and you want to tag the podcast? You want them to tag the podcast? Right?
Yes, tag the podcast, which is Creative Makers Podcast on the Instagrams.
Instagram.
All right. So on with you guys. What have you guys been up to this week?
Me go first.
Sure.
Me, not much. I did a little bit of 3D printing on Sunday. Made a little sandpaper holder. It's a pretty cool little idea. Did y'all see that? Any of y'all see that?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. You can do that as big as you want, and you just use a dowel rod, and that's what it swivels on. But you put magnets between them, and they lock in place. It's make it as big as you want. So if you have a lot of different sandpaper, or you can make the bins bigger, smaller. It's pretty cool. I did not design that. I actually purchased that from somebody online. So just to clarify that.
Yeah.
But somebody had reached out, gentleman by the name of Brian Bricker, on Instagram. I hope I said his name right. Anyhow, I think it's Bricker Builds. Man, I'm old age. But
Hey,
he had reached out and wanted me to make one. You know, it gets pretty hard to remember all this stuff.
it's going to happen more and more.
And yeah, you first.
I know.
He lost.
so I told him I'd eventually get to it, and I finally got to it, and printed that thing up. It was pretty cool. I'm gonna have to make one for myself. But I did that, and I did another little deal. I'm gonna have a reel come out on it tomorrow, hopefully, if I get a chance. But you know, we're prepping for that storm that looks like it's gonna turn this way according to the forecast. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's about what I've been doing.
Well,
How about you, Jake?
I did some 3D printing myself. I printed a turtle.
A turtle.
Yeah, we like the turtles.
Yeah.
Printed a turtle, and I actually did do a full day of casting and did some new techniques on pouring pin blanks, and we're going to do those this weekend. Today, I turned a big old bowl, and tomorrow, before the holiday festivities, I'm going to be editing the video on that, and I'm going to bring back the AI character, and we're going to talk some trash to each other on the video. The last video went out this week, did okay. Learning some things on that, some thumbnail testing stuff on YouTube. What else, man? I put a security system on, had some visitors come by, and I always tell people, hey, if you come by, don't kill me because I got stuff to do tomorrow. I want to put security on, you know, better security cameras and stuff, so if somebody does kill me, then we at least know who did it.
There you go.
I mean, it doesn't affect me after that, but at least somebody will get some closure. But slow week so far. That's all I've done.
And I just want to correct that. That was built by Bricker. It is Brian Bricker, but built by Bricker. I had it backwards. Just wanted to clarify that. So just a little shout out there to him. Okay. So, Matt?
The job taking up most of the time, but here in the shop, I ripped down some 2x4s or some plywood, some 4x8 plywood. Got on SketchUp, designed the interior of the van so I could do the shelving and do the layout and figure out exactly how many uprights. And then I'm actually going to do kind of offset. So it'll be a deeper shelf on one side, and the other side will be a thinner shelf. Therefore, you can get deeper stuff in it because, you know, sometimes you just got to go deep. And then sometimes, you know, you got some smaller stuff you want to put in there. So
really?
I got, yeah, exactly. But you got to be able to, you know, adjust that based off of the type of materials or the you know, what you're going to put in there. Kind of let my motorboat mouth run my rowboat butt, and I said I could put something inside this thing that I don't think I can, and so I have already designed some full extension shelving that I had, or drawers that I had pulled out, and the weight capacity of it was that I had was, I think, 1,000 pounds, and this thing weighs at 750. So I want to make sure that I could get it outside of the van to be able to make it work. So designed that up in SketchUp, made sure everything worked, and now I just got to implement it.
Hold on one second. Motorboat mouth. With the paddle boat.
Yeah, rowboat butt.
Rowboat butt.
That's right. You never heard that one?
That will be stolen, sir.
Yeah, there's a different, you know, saying usually, but it's yeah. You let that rowboat mouth. So yeah, that's what happened to me this week so far, and just trying to make it happen, and yeah.
No CNC building this week.
No, it's been sitting there blinking at me, going, "Hey, come on over and play." I haven't had time. I got to do that. I got to get the, you know, got to get that task done.
All right. So next one on my list. So obviously, I hear this quite a lot in the turning world.
How about you?
Yeah,
Nick,
well, you're somebody too.
I said that I was doing. I did this.
Yeah, he said that
see.
already.
Whew.
He was first.
So I hear this obviously quite a lot in the turning world with traditional versus carbide and such and such. So with that being said, do you guys use old school tools versus new school tools, or do you use a bit of both, or do you stick to electrical tools?
Go ahead, Matt.
I use both. It's not that it's the best tool for the job at the point in time, and then sometimes it's best tool within your arm reach, but but most of the time it's the best tool for the job. And I try to use. I mean, I have hand tools, quite a few of them, my planes, my hand saws, stuff of that nature, marking tools that are old school. I still use those because I find that they work better than stuff today. Stuff that I can do repeatable things off from. So, but I use both, and I enjoy both. But if I find if you don't enjoy the tool to use it, that you're not going to. So yeah, that's both.
I use a mixture. If you're talking about hand planes and stuff, I have some, but I don't really mess with those. But when it comes to traditional versus old school, I'm more of new stuff. I do have some old stuff that I tend to go back to. It really depends on what I'm doing and what's going to make the task easier. I do, I do like using cordless. It's a lot easier in some occasions, especially if you got to be mobile and you don't have a power source. That makes things a lot easier. So that's kind of one thing for the newer style tools, where they're making them a lot more efficient, a lot better. They last a lot longer. They got pretty good power. That's kind of like what I do. I don't know how y'all feel about cordless, but I have more electrical stuff than I do cordless, unless you're talking about drills. I don't even really know. I have maybe a couple of electric drills, but they don't really get used. Most of the time, it's all cordless, battery powered on the drill side. I've slowly tried to transition some tools, but there's just certain tasks that I feel just needs to be electrical. I just feel that they're more powerful, and it running out of battery juice and then having to charge, and it just sometimes it's better to use a corded tool, for some things if it's a long process.
I have battery powered stuff mine's all rigid, and I put out a poll a few weeks ago about what brand, and I don't really think it matters. You just need one kind of battery, so you're not having 2 or 3 different platforms. Yep. But I do a bunch of cordless stuff. But I will say that I have chisels scattered throughout the shop at different stations. I have a chisel everywhere, even on the casting table. There's a chisel on the shipping table. There's a chisel. Where I turn at, where I do stabilizing. I always need a chisel for something. That and a like a Stanley knife, like a razor knife. I have them everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then, but as far as like really traditional stuff, like hand planes, I can't wait. It's almost like I make things so I will have to use a hand plane at some point on them, just because I think it's cool. Yeah. Even if it's just a couple of swipes just to finish it off or whatever, or just go grab one. There'll be a 2x4 sitting there. I'm like, I'm going to play around with this. I like playing with it. But as far as like when you're in production mode and you just, most of the things are set up to where by the time you get done with the cut, it's done on the, electrical stuff. But I do love a hand plane, and I do have chisels everywhere. Probably use them all for the wrong thing, but they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I do have not a lot of hand tools such as planes and chisels. The ones I've got are basically from my grandparents. I think the only old hand tool that I've got is from my dad was a hammer. That's the only tool he ever used, even when he was trying to fix things. But yeah, I'm basically with Joey. I only ever really use power tools, really. So yeah, but kind of following up with what Jake said about the chisels, and you guys have like a good set and a bad set, because I know I do. And
Oh, yeah.
the bad set I've got is I've used it as a pry bar, and it's been used as a screwdriver, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, do not touch that set because that's my good set.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I do. I have basically I'll just go to Harbor Freight and buy a beater set just to mess up, because I know I'm going to mess them up. And they still take a good edge. They don't last long, but I'll use those for everything else. All my good stuff, I keep it tucked away when it's something that's needed for that specific set. Then I'll pull them out. Other than that, I just grab the Harbor Freight set and I beat them up. I got a few sets of those. Those are cheap, and it doesn't really hurt when you break one or, when you mess them up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used a good chisel today to clean off the buffing wheels on the lathe. It's shiny.
I bet.
It's shiny.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the next one, I just want to let everybody know and apologise, because my chair keeps dropping. So if you see me do this for episode, I've got to lift it back up.
We'll forgive you. So, we'll forgive you. You got a good shirt on there, so we'll forgive you.
Oh, that's a good shirt.
That's a good shirt.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you guys have any projects that are on maybe your bucket list that you've always wanted to do and never got around to?
I do.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I actually have it's between my shop and my house is a breezeway that I purposely built for it, and for a specific project, which is going to be traditional tongue and groove, mortise and tendon build, no nails, no screws, no nothing. I complete like big. It's a 15 foot in the center, 10 and a half feet on each side, or 12 and a half feet on each side shop, or basically covered area. That's going to be a indoor living area or outdoor living area. There you go. For a living / kitchen area. But I want to put it all together with mortise and tenon and no nails, no screws, nothing like that. So that's on my bucket list.
There you go.
Me just I got a lot of them, but one, I guess, just finished my shop. This is not done.
I want to use all my tools.
That's on the to-do list. Yeah, because I still have stuff that I don't utilize. At some point, I'll get it done. But yeah, that's as far as something to build. No, not really. I'm pretty much done with that for right now. I don't want to, other than get my CNC back going again. And that's part of just moving it back. And in fact, I think I'm going to have to move it with this storm. I'm scared that those doors may blow open. So I'm going to move it away. So I'm going to have to get it back over here, move some stuff around to get it in there and get it protected, get it away from those big bay doors in case something does happen. But yeah. That's about it.
You got to put your lathe in front of the doors. You haven't been used that for ages.
Got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a wood and resin table I started years ago, and it's like half walnut and half cherry, and it kind of looks like Pac-Man, the ghost that chased Pac-Man. And I kind of cut out eyes and stuff for him. I had all these big ideas, and then COVID hit and blah, blah, blah. Life gets in the way. And I actually took it out of the mold and kind of set it to the side, so it stopped driving me nuts. But as far as things that I want to do, like the art stuff always takes care of itself because we're always finding something to do. But the thing that I need to do is I have a 100-year-old house, and it looks like it. I'm always out here all the time, and the house gets neglected. And last year I started working on it a little bit and put a new heat and air in it, and stuff like that. But it's just stuff that I need to just slowly do, and it's a good balance between I work on the house, but not too much to where I neglect this out here. And then I still need to work on a house, so I need to find a good balance on how to work on that. But it's a work in progress, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me, I've always wanted to make a guitar. I've always wanted. I can't play a guitar. Never tried learning the guitar, but I've always wanted to play a guitar. And I think if I go out my way to build my own, then I think that it will give me more incentive to actually sit down and get off my rear end and actually start learning.
There you go.
So yeah, I think that's on my bucket list to try and make at some point.
Have you ever taken like a musical aptitude test?
What?
Like they give us, like when I was in grade school, they give us musical aptitude, like see if you're like naturally, musically inclined. And they told me to stick to football.
I don't think they even gave me the test.
No, never even heard of that. Really?
Yeah.
I started taking. I don't know why, because I'm no good at any sort of things, musical instruments, as far as I'm aware. But I started taking saxophone lessons at school, and then after the second lesson, the teacher threw me out of the class because I was misbehaving. Go figure.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. So, all right. On to the next one. So we've got online shopping versus in-store. As in, do you prefer to get hands-on with a product before you buy it, or do you do your research, look at reviews, and hope for the best?
I'm a little bit of both. I will research, and if I'm very undecided, then I try to get somewhere to put my hands on it and see if it is what it's all up to be, But for the majority of the times, I've already gone and looked at YouTube videos, seen other people use it, read the reviews, and I'll usually, the majority of the time, purchase stuff online. There's very seldom times that I do go somewhere to look at it. So I enjoy that, and I don't have to mess with anybody. I don't have to, because a lot of times when you go to stores, there's certain people that think that and I'm just, don't take this wrong. Sometimes they just are not educated on the piece of equipment, and it's just pointless of going over there because they're just acting like a salesman most of the time. And it's like, yeah, that's not what I needed to know, but okay. I'm not rude at all, but I just like, okay, so I'd rather just do my research in the comforts of my chair here and figure out, and then usually that's what I do.
So most of the time I already know what I want, like replenishing supplies for the shop. I know what that stuff is, and I know what I like, and it can just keep on ordering like that. But like a perfect example is I got a new computer. I got a MacBook Pro. So I watched tons of videos and the videos on like why are Gen Xers scared of it, because it's just something different than what we're used to and stuff. So I went to the store and went and got my hands on it and talked to somebody and asked them, why do people shy away from this? And I wanted to know and get my hands on it and them tell me their experience with it and stuff. And just to make a bigger expenses, I want to at least put my hands on it, make it, we all know what a good tool, a good branded tool feels like, and just in our hands, just by having it in your hands, And it was the same thing with that. And I ended up leaving it with it that day. It hurt. It hurt bad.
I do a lot of research on them. So if I'm going to buy a tool, before I bought my first Onefinity, I think I had it in the cart for 3 months, just researching it, going over it, verifying, checking on this. Because it's going to be a big purchase, and you want to make sure you do your due diligence. And then you end up getting it and, going from there. But I do Well, I would like to be able to put my hands on it. But if I can't, I mean, I can still do the online thing, but it's still like, it's like, I'll do a lot of the research and then go see it, put my hands on it, verify, check with somebody that you know that might have one, because then you can get somebody that you know's opinion instead of somebody that might be a bot putting their, it's the greatest thing in the world and it does all this thing and bells and whistles come out. And go check with somebody that actually has it. They can give you their. And then the other one is and I know we didn't discuss this on here, but customer service for that particular tool as well. That's huge. That goes a long way. Yeah. I'll pay a little extra to have the customer service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll kind of just like Jake, if it's a very expensive tool, I would rather get my hands on it. And like you say, Matt, go and look at it and make sure the quality matches the price. You can usually tell by feeling it, looking at it. You can tell, there's a lot of things you can look at to see, like when I decided to get my first Festool sander, that's what I drove to go look, because I wanted to make sure if I'm going to pay that kind of money for something, I want to see if that fits all, if if the price matches the tool. And of course, once you get a couple of them and and you've seen it, it eases your mind on some of that stuff when you're purchasing it online. And that goes for anything. I mean, there's other tools other than them that same thing. If you can easily access that to where you have it and you can go look at it, that's the best thing to do when you're going to invest in something like that. CNCs are a different story. So seek friends, seek other people that are going to give you an honest opinion that, sometimes that they're not best thing if they're not affiliated with the company, to be honest, because sometimes that kind of skews their what they can say about it. And I hate to say that, but it's true,
Lucky for us though, that we know a lot of people, we know each other, and we know a lot of people online, or if there might be something that they can't say in public, we can just message them and be like, "Hey man, what's the real skinny on this?"
Exactly.
And then you go ahead and then you can make an informed decision. And sometimes what they don't like about it is something you might not even care about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the color.
Yeah, I would say that the reviews, take it with a grain of salt. When you're reading reviews, you need to there's a lot of times some individuals, some things are harder than most other individuals. Certain tasks that make them feel that way about a certain item, it's not, they just don't know, so you got to kind of read through those reviews.
Anyhow. So with what I do, I'm kind of fortunate because with the turning, the scroll sawing, there's not much low quality tool companies out there that are unknown. Like for turning, for example, there's Easy Wood Tools, Robert Sorby, Simon Hope. They're kind of the only three you really want to go for, to know that you're getting good quality products. Apart from that, kind of step away really in the UK from my side of things. Scroll saw that there's quite a few different brands of blades that you should go for. But apart from that, yeah, I'm kind of fortunate. I'm limited with what I do. And obviously, if I want stuff in the States, if I want, like for example, a silicon mold, then I know I can just go to NorthsideCustomCrafts.com.
By golly,
I spent time with Jake. I know what he's put into it, etc., etc., etc. Like he's talking about customer service. I know what sort of customer service Jake gives, and I know what he's put into it. Now, he's bigging Jake up. We can go on with the next question.
There you go. Speaking of the customer service, real quick, I work with a lot of companies, and I've worked with other companies. And the thing is, if they don't treat me well when I'm working with them, how are they going to treat the people that I'm sending to them?
Yeah.
So if I can't get treated good as an affiliate or a partner or whatever, and they don't have to go above and beyond, but just treat me fairly. If they're not doing that with me, they're not going to and I have broken off a few relationships over that, just because I'm not going to send people that watch our show to go be treated rudely to. So anyway, that was just a little side note there, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so the next one is, what is our responsibility as content creators to show proper PPE practices?
Always wear it. Always wear it. Do not do what I do. Do as I say, not as I do.
I'll sit down.
Except for wearing. That was kind of a contradictory saying there, but yeah, you need to be sure and be safe in your shop. I'll be honest. There's a lot of times that I do some sketchy stuff. Do I wear the stuff I'm supposed to be? No, not all the time. But you need to be very careful. And I've paid the price for doing those sketchy things at times. I've hurt myself, and but it's always, you got to always remember, be careful around that stuff, because it's unforgiving, and once it's done, you can't take it back. So, that's what I'll say about that.
Give us your 5 favorite safety tips. But mine is, most of the time that I'm doing something in the shop, it's going to be on a video. So I'm mindful of that, and I go ahead and I do it, and I show it and everything. And the thing that I've learned over the years is that, and I've said it on here before, that you don't realize how many people are watching and who is watching. There could be some 15-year-old kid out there that's like, oh, Jake makes cool stuff, and I'm going to do exactly how he does. And if I'm not doing the safety stuff right, then he's going to think it's cool and go, and not without the experience that we have. Not saying that the experience makes up for wearing safety equipment, but if you're doing videos, you definitely need to do it, just because of the fact that you don't know who's watching and who's trying to mimic what you're doing. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
Yes, you should do your PPE 100%. I agree with you. Okay. And there are times that I do not wear 100% of the PPE. For example, with the bandsaw, do I always wear my safety glasses? No. Are they right there? Yeah. Are they right there? Of course they are. They're sitting right there. I can see them. And it's like, oh, I'll just take this quick. And it's wrong. I'm going to tell you right now, it's wrong. Mm-hmm. But Jake has a saying in his Saturday morning cartoons, and I like this saying. He says, "You be safe in your shop, and I'll be safe in mine." And I like that. Yep. I like it. And should I show it more? Sure, I should. I should show safety and how I'm doing it. But sometimes the camera angle makes it look a little bit more dangerous than what it really is. I had a bowl that I cut on a bandsaw that everybody thought I was going to die in that thing. But my hand never got closer than 6 to 8 inches away from the blade ever. And it was
millions actually thought that, right?
Yeah. Millions thought that.
Yeah, millions. 23 of them, exactly.
Millions.
Yeah. But literally, it was the camera angle. My hand was never near the blade or in process of going towards the blade. But it just looked that way because of how the angle was shot. And so, yeah.
Well, as a matter of fact, on cartoons, sorry, we got Jackie. When she first started helping me on cartoons, she was wearing the glasses messed with her. And I really don't even think we need to wear glasses to mix resin and stuff, wear some gloves, whatever, but it's one of those things, like, why not?
Yeah.
So now when she comes in the morning before we start the show, first thing she does is put on her glasses, and the first thing she does when the camera shuts off, takes off her glasses. So it's just one of those, if you get used to it, it's not a big deal. We're definitely used to it. And I don't want to, if we're out in the shop, definitely, I don't want Jackie hurt. So
no.
She's wearing a respirator. She's wearing the air. We have the Dust Pro, what are they called?
Air Shield Pros.
The Air Shield Pros, and the dust collection's on, and we have everything going, and we have like measures set up. All of it. I have to do everything special for Jackie. Like, don't pass this line when I have this machine on, and don't do this, and everything's color coded and everything. There's a lot of stuff that goes in here because if you get hurt over something that you just didn't want to do, then that's accidents are going to happen. But if you can prevent it, then it's twice as bad.
I think it just for us vision impaired individuals, it's tough to wear safety glasses. Yeah, you can get the side shields, but a lot of times, they don't fit the type of glasses. And I tend to slack on that. But if it's like, if I'm grabbing a grinder, if I'm doing something with metal or a wire wheel on a grinder, yeah, I'll put something on. And usually that stuff, I'm not videoing it because it's just horrible. There's a lot of ugly sounds and, it's just not good for video. And I will protect my eyes because I've seen, I don't know how many times my mom was digging something out of my dad's eye because he was a fabricator. And he tended to slack on a lot of that stuff. And sometimes even with glasses, that stuff escapes through. And you're sitting there trying to get a piece of metal out or going to the doctor to do it. And it jacks your eyes up, So on stuff like that, I tend to try to use something. On other stuff, yeah, if I'm cutting something on a bandsaw, even though you're supposed to, you need to wear that stuff. Because it's that little instant where something can happen and then you got a piece of something in your eye and it's not a good feeling, Respirators, the same thing. I don't care what they say or how good something collects dust. Can't fix your lungs once that is messed up, so you need to be careful with it.
I think that Jake's point brings up it's a good valid point. In I do it with my wife in the shop. So when she's in the shop, I think more about safety than it would be just myself in the shop. If that makes sense. Because I think about, well, what is she doing? Like we were cutting with the table saw and she started pulling. And nope. We're not going to do that. And this is why we're not going to do that. And then it's just certain things like that. You think more when somebody else is doing it than when you're doing it. And it makes you more conscious of it. And I think having Jackie there makes you more conscious of it. Where me having my wife in there, that part makes me more conscious of. And I think that's a good valid point about your safety is when somebody else is there helping you. Oh wait, let's stop and think about this. I remember this one time I did this and this happened to me. Let's not have that happen to you.
I'm the same way with my boys. When they're in there, I make them. They're helping me do stuff. Hey, put your stuff on because I'm not. I don't want something to happen to them, and then I got to explain it to mama, and then or just anything happen to them. But that way they just like Jake says with Jackie, they get used to it. So when they're in there, I have them their set of glasses, their gloves, everything. They know where to go get it from the drawer if they're going to help me. And it's another thing they like, well, why ain't you? Don't worry about what I'm doing. You do what I tell you to do. And when you know what needs to be done already, when you're in here with me, but yeah, it's, you don't want them. And then it gives them a bad habit, they don't get used to it. And then they're not, they start slacking and that's when things happen.
Yep.
We've all been there. So when you let your guard down, that's when it's going to bite you.
Mm-hmm.
So we was cutting blanks one time and Jackie went, something was wonky or whatever. And I didn't want her to grab it and pull it away from the blade. So I just kind of waved her off and then I reached over and went to move it. And of course, moved it sideways. It hit the blade. It missed me, kick back and stuff. And then it was like, okay, shut everything down. Let's have a talk about this. And it was me not wanting her to get hurt. So instead of me just walking around and doing it how I normally would, I just tried to do it just so she wouldn't do it.
Right.
So I should have just said stop, and then let's talk about how we're going to do this. And it definitely is happening more and more. Where I just say, hold on, safety meeting right now, and then we're both on the same sheet of music. And if I'm one of those, if I'm wearing my glasses if I want her to wear hers, and I'm wearing the AirShield Pro if I want her to wear hers, and I'm wearing a respirator if I want her to wear hers. I got two of everything in here. We might as well use them. So.
It's that patience. Yeah. As we get older, that patience to. We don't need to be running 5,000 miles an hour to go do this. Let's stop. Let's do it right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had the same thing with him on my boys helping me rip plywood when I was doing this edition. And I started yelling at him because I thought he was moving the plywood, causing the blade to bind up, but it was the same thing. I was trying to do something that wasn't right, and I thought he was moving, and he was just following my lead, and it was me causing the blade to bind up on that table saw, and I started yelling at him, and I felt bad afterwards, but I kicked the button on the saw to stop it because that saw was not going to stop, but it was binding up enough to where it was smoking. And I finally realized once I looked at it, he's like, I wasn't doing anything. I was just holding it like you told me. And then I sat back and I was like, yeah, this is my bad. My bad.
Hold the flashlight right here, boy.
Yeah, my bad. It's my fault.
That favorite meme that you just said, Jake, was that kid when he's like, hold the tape measure. I told you to hold it. Because... I watch it every time.
I think we can all preach PPE until we're blue in the face, but I think ultimately a lot of it all comes down to common sense as well. You know, first of all, before you get a power tool such as a table saw, read the instructions just like Norm Abrams says. You know, he's a perfect guy to listen to when it comes to all of his safety rules and all that good stuff. So, I mean, a little segue going from that. A fantastic product for any woodworking shop. The saw stop. Do you think people have become complacent in their shops since the release of saw stop technology?
Say that again, Jamie. Sorry. What was that?
People have become complacent with the saw stop technology since its release.
Nah, I have one. I don't. I still respect that saw, regardless if I know that it won't cut my finger off. I still respect it because I've had instances where stuff has happened, and it's kickback. You know, there's still certain tasks on it that it's real sketchy, like when you're cutting something real thin. Even though I'm using a push stick, I don't know if y'all do this, but I'm always thinking as I'm performing a cut, maybe it's just my head just all messed up because I've had it happen to me, and I'm always thinking like 3 steps ahead. What if this happens? How am I going to react to prepare yourself? Because, you know, a lot of times if you do get kickback, however that board comes back at you and hits you or does whatever, one reaction is that your body's going to go forward, and what's in the way is that blade. You know, so I've always, people have asked me, and I'm like, you're already tense using that saw. And a lot of times being that way, if you're not somewhat relaxed, that can also cause, in my opinion, can cause an accident or cause you to make a move that's not natural and cause a kickback or cause something to happen, you know? But I am not complacent. When it comes to a table saw, I don't care if I'm using either one of them. I'm still very careful at what I do. And you know, even with plywood, when you're doing it, you have a little more leverage and you're further away if you're ripping long pieces of plywood. And you can bind it up and it can kick it back, but you're so far away from it sometimes. Well, once you're close to it, but if you're far away, it's easy to move that piece of plywood around, and cause it to start binding up. You just got to be careful. But with the technology, I'm still sketchy. I'm still, on edge around it. I'll be honest. I mean, even I'm used to it, and I made a lot of cuts, and there's times where I relaxed and I've in a hurry, and I've had stuff happen. And then I got to sit back after I collect my thoughts and chill out a little bit and know what I did wrong, and then go back at it again and slow down. I still don't, I don't want to say that I'm like, okay, it's not going to hurt me. No, because it'll still hurt you. May not be with the blade, but in another way.
Yeah, I don't have a saw stop, but before I start a cut, I make sure I have a plan for the whole cut. Sometimes the plan doesn't work out quite right, but you need to know, like, okay, I got this, and I have this push stick over here, and this is how I'm going to push it past. And if you don't have if I get up there and I don't have a plan for the whole cut mapped out in my head, and I know exactly what I'm doing, then I don't make the cut. And I would imagine if I had a saw stop, that plan wouldn't change. I would still have my operating procedure would be the same if I had one or didn't have one, because like Joey said, that saw stop doesn't prevent kickback.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I don't have a saw stop. I still, got an old table saw. But still, if I had a saw stop, I think of two different things is, first of all, somebody promises you that I'm not going to bite you. Snake tells you it's not going to bite you. It doesn't mean
you knew I was a snake.
Exactly. That's your dummy. Stick your finger in there. So the second thing is it's $160 for that, the saw stop replacement piece to put in there. And then you put a $300 to $400 blade in that thing that it's going to tear up because it's going to pull the carbide out. So you just lost yourself $500. No. I'm going to be a lot more.
That's still something to think about. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, you're losing $500, mm-hmm. Just every time that happens. So no, there's no. You think about your cut. You pay attention to your cut, and I'm not going to stick my finger in a snake's mouth to prove that it didn't bite me.
How many times have you heard the people go, "I just got my saw stop and just in time because I already set it off."
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Well, and you can bypass that where it won't set it off. And here's the thing with that. Then why did you buy it? It's just my opinion. Because there's been instances where people say wet wood will set it off. Look, if I bought that saw for the reason of being one is a safety factor, why on earth would you bypass it? Yeah. Why would you? Why would you do it? Mm-hmm. If you set it off because the wood's wet, then, maybe you need to be checking with the moisture meter. Maybe you need to, if there was a piece of metal in it, maybe you need to have a meter to wand it for metal. They make all those things. I just don't understand why sometimes you see that, because there's the bypass part where you can bypass it. To me, it defeats the purpose. Then don't buy one. That's just my opinion. Don't buy it. If you're going to bypass it, why spend the extra money?
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion on
it. There you go.
Well,
all right. People. So on to the next one. Where do you guys tend to find inspiration?
Online.
I find it everywhere. I mean, you got Instagram, stuff like that, stuff that people have done. You go, I want to do that just a little bit different, or I change that up. And then I do a lot of, like I do on Instagram, a lot of nature. I follow a lot of nature stuff that's on there. And that is very inspiring all by itself. Now, I can't see everything that everybody else can see, but the stuff I do see and how it grows and stuff like that, it's very inspiring on that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's me.
But you, Jake, where you get inspired from?
I don't know if you guys know this, but every Saturday we have a show called Saturday Morning Cartoons.
What?
And in that show, there's a chat. And there's about 70 people in there all the time. And if you go look at their pages and see the stuff that they're doing, that'll motivate you, because they're like, we're doing what we're doing, and then you just go look and you think you're going to see just the same thing that we're doing, and you don't.
No.
People are doing all kinds of cool stuff. So you can just go and look and get ideas, and then go and follow those people, and it's amazing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you, Jamie?
Me, I mean, it's weird. You can be walking around a supermarket, and like Matt says, it's weird being a maker or creator, because you can look at something and you can instantly see in your head something different from it, or something very, very similar that could be made just a slightly bit different. But it's weird because I see things that are square that's got a certain shape of it or a certain taper to it, and straight away I'm thinking, how can I make that round?
Mm-hmm.
You know, or make it out of wooden resin or something. You know, I think one of the more recent ones is I actually went down the Chinese takeaway and saw a little miniature vase, and I was like, oh, okay, I can make that, but in large. You know, so I'm standing there with my phone, like being a little creeper, and just taking a picture of this little vase.
They just have sauce in there, or what?
Do you guys just take pictures or anything like that, or do you guys take notes when you do this stuff? Y'all ever do that?
Sometimes I've got an app on my phone, the notes app on the iPhone.
Usually it's a screenshot. It's a screenshot.
I have a notebook that I started keeping stuff in because I would have ideas, and then by the time I got to it, I'd go, "What was that idea again?" So I had to start writing some stuff down to be able to remember.
By the time you got up to it,
exactly.
Hey, this is within arm's reach.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a lot of ideas.
Always. I got a pad at every corner of every table just to make sure I got something.
I keep one next to each chisel.
Sometimes I have to keep a notepad or something next to my bed, because sometimes I go through phases where I just can't sleep at night because I have projects and ideas just running through my head, and I have to have a brain dump, if you like, and just have to write them out, just get them out of my head.
I never had that problem.
I do. I mean, the sleeping thing is a big thing for me. It's because I don't sleep very much. But this thing don't shut off. My body wants to, but my brain says no. We're gonna think about some stuff. We got some numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's usually inspired by stuff that I see, videos I see, or something will come across my page, but I usually, if I'm gonna make something, I try to make it different, just in my way. You know, not try to replicate it identically. You know, just I want to put my twist on it. Yeah.
Well, in my case, I'll do some stuff like the dragon egg or whatever. But like today, I made that bowl, and it was specifically made to be simple, so that when somebody finds the channel and they find it, and I'm even going to voice over the going, hey, this is a very simple shape, because I want people that are brand new to the hobby or want to do the hobby feel like they can do it. And keep it simple, keep it super simple and not overcomplicated, and don't use big words, and just get it done and make it look good, and then people will realize that they can do it too. And that's the biggest thing that I do, I think.
I mean, that's a good point though. Keeping it simple, where, you know, we all have different tools, and some people, you know, they're just starting out and they don't have some of these things. So it's always keeping them in mind to where they could replicate it themselves if they wanted to, with simple stuff. You know, I've made some projects that I videoed, and I just try to keep it simple. So one thing you don't hear, well, if I had those tools, I could do that, you know. It's like,
Jamie's answer to that is you could have those tools and you'd still be a butthole.
Exactly.
Amen. All right. So, how long we got left? Oh, I think we've got enough time. All right. So, what do you do to make sure, or at least try to prevent, any copyright claims on your content?
I just do my own thing. Try to do my own thing. I don't try to copy anybody. I mean, that's the whole point about it, is try to come up with something unique. Last thing I want to do is make something that somebody already made.
Well, I think it's more like music and TV stuff, the clips that we put in. So as far as music goes, Epidemic Sound is where I go. If I want to put a whole song in there or whatever, you go there. I mean, if you're on Instagram and stuff like that, they have music that you can use. But on YouTube, use Epidemic Sound. It's a subscription thing, so you can use that. But if you're going to use like a movie quote or something like that, then we try to keep it under 5 seconds. Just keep your your clips you take off of movies, keep them under 5 seconds. That way, there's not any chance of them copyrighting you over that. But if you have like a whole scene in there, that you're gonna get copyrighted, and then whatever monetization or whatever, or they might not even promote it now that it has a copyright on it, so it might not go anywhere. So make sure that and YouTube has music you can use also that's copyright free. That's you can just do there. It's not good music, but you can have music on your videos, and you can, it's free and it'll get you started.
Yep.
And another thing I'll add to it is, if you are like on Instagram or Facebook, it don't matter. Make sure that your background, there's nothing in there that in your background that of somebody, or there's even a movie playing on your TV that can be visually seen, or audio, because they will hit you for that. There's, I mean, we've all had it happen, at one point or another. Heck, they killed a live on Instagram. We didn't even know. It just killed the live, and it gave me the message that there was audio on there that was not allowed to be on Instagram. And it just happened that somebody that was on there live was watching a movie, and it's crazy. You don't think that they're listening, but they're listening, or the algorithm or something caught it, and it just killed the live instantly. It didn't even give you a warning. It just killed it. And it's like, so you always need to be aware of what's in the background. What kind of audio is being pushed through it, because they will hit you for it.
We had a guest on my Patreon, which is unlisted, and they were on with us and everything, and they had their radio on, and they were like, "Oh, I thought it was cute." And we finally was like, "Hey, you got to turn that off, because I don't know if it matters or not. It's unlisted video, but I got flagged for it."
Yeah.
So lucky the video wasn't monetized or anything like that, but it was just like cut. So if you don't want to be rude, but if you have a guest on and they have their radio on or their TV on, be like, "Hey, can you pretty please shut that off?"
Yeah.
I know quite a few years ago, there was someone that put out a video, and they got a copyright claim because an ice cream truck drove past their house and playing the ice cream tune. And I think it was like a nursery rhyme or something like that. Yes, they got a copyright claim for that.
Stop, Matt. We're gonna get copyright claim.
I kept it under 5 seconds.
There you go. Good job.
So
it's kind of crazy how that stuff happens. You just, if you're doing it like how we're doing, the things that you do. Let me say that again. If you're trying to do the stuff that like we do, you got to be mindful, because, man, we've all been hit with it at one point. And a lot of times it's up to, you can leave it there, or you just delete it, because it will hurt. It will hurt you more than what you think. We tried to do something, Matt, a long time ago. What was it? I think it was with that dust collector. I was trying to promote it on Instagram. And, until this day, probably earlier this year, I couldn't figure out why I had a monetization hit on Instagram. And I finally started digging deeper and deeper. And I finally figured out that when I tried to promote that post, I don't know if you remember, this has been 4 years ago. They hit me for that. And they wouldn't allow me to pay to promote it. This is a long time ago, early on in the deal. And that was the hit I had on Instagram. And I finally just went in there and deleted it. And it finally took it away. I sent them a deal to review it again. And it finally was taken off. But it was that was hitting me. Because I tried to pay them to post something and promote it. And they told me they couldn't. And it was in a foreign country. It was one of those ones that says it cannot be promoted. And that's what was causing it. I'm like, huh. There you go.
Sorry.
Mine was a video. I did a video.
Country.
Yeah. I was doing a video of me cutting something on top of my table, and in the background you could see the TV, and it was playing on the TV. No sound, no nothing. It was just the TV, and it was a movie that was playing. I think it was Pulp Fiction that was playing in the background.
Good one. Good one.
Yeah, yeah. And literally, it was like a 15-second clip, and they hit me up, and I'm like, I used your audio. I used this. And I could not figure it out and I just watched the video over and over, and I went, what's that in the background? And that's what. And I had to delete the post. So,
Vincent Vega.
Yeah. Yep. They were looking for Marcel Wallace's suitcase.
Yep, they were.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's
all right.
That's good. That's an hour there. Any last thing, Jamie?
I went quick.
Well, do we want to do a quick speed round?
Do it quick, fast, hurry.
Yeah, all right. So everyone's got to end with a quick shop tip.
A what?
Quick shop tip.
Quick
tip. Okay.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. All right. We're going to put the tip. Okay.
Drink plenty of water.
There we go. Hydrating.
Hydrate. H2O.
I'll give a table saw tip. Yeah, table saw tip. When you're cutting with your table saw, use your fence. Make sure that you line it up correctly. The same, you would need to measure it correctly. That your distance of your blade to your guide is equal distance, or if anything, just a little bit fanning away from. And you adjust your height so that you're not overly too high, because it'll allow it to catch in there easily. So you want to be about a tooth height above the top of what you're cutting. That's my tip.
My tip is, if you're tired, I get tired. Like I turned that bowl today and I did a bunch of other stuff, and at the end of it, I was kind of clumsy. So I'm tired. So if I know that I'm tired, I don't care if it's noon. I don't care if it's 9 o'clock at night. I don't care if it's in the morning. I don't care if I'm not even close to being done. I shut it down. Shut everything down.
There you go.
Because
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. If you're rushing and you're tired and you're clumsy or things just aren't going right, shut it down. Just stop.
Nice.
You'll thank me tomorrow.
There you go. So I've got a turning tip for you. So you've got face plates, right? You can't get your pen inside there. Go all the way down to the bottom. Grab yourself a marksman tool and just pump all the way around the holes. And that'll be easy to mark onto the blank.
Nice.
There you go. Good tips, guys. Good tips.
Just the tip.
All right. So what's everybody got? We kind of already done that, didn't we?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good. So next week we got Jeff from Eye Candy Pigments on the show.
Nice.
Might not want to miss that one. That one's going to be good. Just awesome.
Should be good.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Happy 4th of July. Be safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Be safe.
Yeah,
don't look down that. Don't look down the cannon. Don't look down it.
Yeah. Stay far away from those things. Anyhow,
10 stars.
10. We need 10. Yeah, but I haven't said that in a while. Please go give us a review on iTunes and check out Creative Makers Podcast / Patreon. And we'll see y'all next week. How about that?
How about that? Kick
Same
me
time,
aside.
same place, same beautiful faces. Bye-bye. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Bye.